In the 9th century England, there lived a fierce Viking warrior named Hrogar. Hrogar was known throughout the land as a Berserker, a warrior who fought with uncontrollable rage and fury on the battlefield. One summer, Hrogar set out on a raiding expedition to England with a group of fellow Vikings. They sailed across the North Sea and made landfall on the coast of East Anglia. They quickly pillaged and burned several small villages, causing panic and chaos wherever they went. He despised raiding monasteries. Very few offered resistance, but the silver lessened the anguish. Hrogar always led the charge, wearing his rage like an armor, his battle-axe swinging wildly as he charged into skirmish after skirmish. His berserker rage made him nearly unstoppable, and the East Anglian soldiers were no match for him. As they moved deeper into the mainland, they came across a larger, fortified town. The town was well defended, and Hrogar knew that they would not easily take it. But he was undeterred. With a fierce battle cry, he led the charge, his berserker rage driving him forward. For hours they fought, the battle raging back and forth. Hrogar's axe swung tirelessly, his fury never waning. Eventually, the Vikings were able to break through the town's defenses and take control. They looted and burned the town to the ground, leaving no stone unturned. Hrogar and his men sailed back to their homeland, rich with loot and glory. They were hailed as heroes, and Hrogar's legend as a berserker only grew. He continued to lead raids on England for many years, always at the forefront of the battle and always fueled by his berserker rage. As the years passed, Hrogar grew older, but his rage never diminished. He continued to lead raids on England, striking fear into the hearts of the English people. However, as he grew older, Hrogar began to feel the weight of his many battles. He was tired, and his body was no longer able to keep up with the demands of his berserker rage. One summer, as Hrogar led his men on yet another raid, they were met with a larger and better equipped English army, a collection of professional soldiers and peasants. The battle was fierce, and Hrogar fought with all his might, but it soon became clear that they were no match for their enemies. Hrogar's men were being pushed back, and defeat was imminent. In that moment, Hrogar made a decision that would change the course of his life forever. He knew that his rage had been the source of his strength, but it had also become a burden. He realized that if he were to fall in battle, his men would lose their leader and their spirit would be broken. So, Hrogar made a sacrifice. He stepped forward, away from his men, and challenged the army alone. He roared with rage, his battle-axe raised high, and charged forward. The English soldiers hesitated for a moment, taken aback by Hrogar's bold move, but then they descended upon him. The battle was intense and lasted for what seemed like an eternity. Hrogar fought with all his might, taking wound after wound. For every strike received he slew 2 men. Hrogar's axe ran blunt and became too heavy to lift. In his moment of weakness an English leader struck him from behind. Dropping his axe, Hrogar turned and killed the man with his bare hands. Taking the soldier's helmet he used it like a mace, killing man after man with the helmet, all while taking slash after slash. But eventually, he fell to the ground, gravely wounded, letting out one final bestial roar, shocking and dampening the morale of the attacking soldiers. His men, inspired by his bravery and sacrifice, charged into battle around Hrogar and fought with renewed vigor and eventually won the battle. Hrogar died on that battlefield, his sacrifice allowing his men to survive and return home, his body carried the entire way with his axe held in his arms. His death was mourned by all who knew him, and his legend lived on as a tale of the berserker who was willing to make the ultimate sacrifice for his people. Hrogar's bravery and selflessness have secured his place in the annals of Viking history, and he would forever be remembered as a true warrior and hero.